Hello, everyone, and welcome to Surrogacy Australia's webinar. I'm your host, Anna Mackay, and my co-host, SJ, birthed as a surrogate in Brisbane in March 2025 for a couple who were initially strangers and are now lifelong friends. They had a little girl, Blake, and her parents are Emma and Steve, and they also live nearby on the Sunshine Coast. Did I get that right, or was it Gold Coast? It was Sunshine. Anyway, SJ is a member of the Surrogacy Australia Board, a regular on our Zoom monthly catch-ups, and
Gold
advocates for surrogacy at every chance she gets. So welcome, SJ. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me, Anna.
So SJ, thank you for joining us. We've got some beautiful photos of your surrogacy journey to work through. So I think what we'll do is we'll go through the photos and then we'll go back to the beginning as to why you became a surrogate. So I guess each time tell us who's in these photos and sort of what's happening.
All right, we've got Steve, who he was the intended father, but now father.
Yes.
Emma, the mum, and myself, and we had just had um, a appointment with the fertility specialist there.
Excellent. And so they needed a surrogate for medical reasons, I'm assuming, for Emma?
Yes, Emma was born with no uterus, and so they were looking for a surrogate through the ASC,
Mm.
and I was looking to become a surrogate, so I decided to put an introduction post up,
Wow.
and then one of the replies was Emma's.
Wonderful. Right. Well, there's lots to unpack there. The next photo we have, I think, takes us to embryo transfer day. So there's the lot that's happened in between there. Can you roughly
Mhm.
remember the time frame of when you first started chatting to them to when it got to this embryo transfer?
It was definitely over a year. It
Yeah.
was it. We started chatting in 2023, and then we did transfer in 2024, and then we just not too long ago we had our 2 year anniversary. Um, but it took over a year to get there. But I like that. I like that it took that long, so that we could spend time on our relationship as friends first.
Yes, that's surroship, as we often say in the community. So you did some surro dating with your IPs then, would that be right?
Yeah.
And what did that surro dating?
Yep. Our first date was at the library with my son. Uh, yeah, so I had my first date at the library, and my son came along, and Emma bought us ice cream afterwards, and I think that sealed the deal for my son, uh, that she was the one because she got him ice cream. But that was our first date, and it was so nerve-wracking. I remember choosing my outfit and doing my hair and trying to look nice, and it was kind of daunting.
Isn't that interesting? Because they were probably just as nervous as you were.
I'd say so. I'd
Yes.
say so. But in those photos there, that was like the day of our transfer, on the left there, and that was with the whole team. And then afterwards, we went out for McDonald's chips, because we'd heard that helps the embryo stick, and everyone likes chips. So that was our little after transfer date.
Mm. Now I'm just going to stop you there. It's getting glitchy. Well, it's
You got
certainly
me, Anna?
say that again.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's
Would you
getting
like me to?
glitchy. So yeah, let's switch to your phone. So for those that were listening or were at the beginning, we had some tech issues to start with. That's why we meet online a bit beforehand. And so SJ got her phone ready as a backup option. So we might go to that. Alrighty. So, and I'll cut this bit out of the podcast. Oh, okay. So we're going to mute. Should we just turn off? Oh, you've turned it off. Excellent. So you got to put your phone in a comfortable position.
How's that?
That's great. Beautiful. Okay. So I'll just pick it up again. So did it work first embryo transfer?
Yeah, we were super lucky. It did work first embryo transfer, and honestly, I was only thinking about positive thoughts that it would work first time. And yeah, we were really fortunate that it did. So uh, at the time, we'd had the embryo transfer, and then we'd all gone as a family up to uh, Cairns for a holiday.
It's still
So
gifting. It's still
we were going to get the bloods done while up in Cairns to see if it was a positive. Um, and then we came back down, we flew back down, and we all came to our house here. So we'd gotten off the plane and we drove home, and Emma and Steve met us at her house. And we'd already done the blood test, but we told the fertility clinic, don't let us know the result or anything like that. We wanted to all be together in person. And we said, what we'll do is we're going to pee on the stick, and we covered up the window. And I did that and came out into the living room. And then Emma pulled the pea stick out of the brown paper bag, and we looked down, and it was a positive. And we were like, oh my God, we were so happy. And then we called up the fertility clinic to confirm the blood test results.
fun. That's a great way of doing it. I've not heard of that before. That sounds fun.
Yeah, it was really good. We got a video of it and everything, and I love rewatching it. And the kids were there, and like Emma started crying, and I was crying, and yeah, it was a really good moment.
Mm. I love, yeah, remembering those special events. Do you happen to remember how many embryos they had in the freezer going into surrogacy?
Yeah, they had three, so they obviously have two left, and it was something that I did sort of go into it thinking, oh yeah, three's a good number. I was happy with three.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So then moving on, I guessing that there's a Canada connection here, as
Yeah.
there's
Yeah, Steve's Canadian, and he loves the ice hockey team, the Maple Leafs.
yes.
And when I went on the surrogacy retreat in Tasmania, one of the girls made up this t-shirt, and I surprised him with it before our first scan, and he absolutely loved it. And it was like a nice way to kind of get him involved too. So
Mm,
yeah. It
that's
was good.
great. Yes. If those that are listening to the podcast, it says baking a mini Maple Leafs fan.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And so then we're moving through the pregnancy. How
Mhm.
was that pregnancy in compared to the two keeper children that you had?
Uh, uh, it was definitely a lot harder.
Mm,
Um, it had been like 5 years since I'd had our daughter, and I was 41, and I guess some things that came up during pregnancy I hadn't experienced before, and it was pretty tough. So I had a lot of like varicose veins come up in my legs and stuff like that, and so I ended up taking Clexane injections, and I had 80 of them overall, and my husband was giving them to me each night. My neighbors, my friends, all sorts of people, because I like didn't want to do it myself.
yeah.
Um, and so the right hand photo of me lying down was all of the needles that I had kept. And my husband's a police officer, so he kind of fashioned that into some sort of uh, you know, little death shot, I suppose, or something like that. But
So for
yeah,
those who can't see it, it's like SJ's lying on the floor and surrounded by like this outline of these 80 odd needles, like it's a murder scene and there's, this
yeah,
is where the body was lying. So it really gives that great indication of, wow, how many injections there were. And these things that surrogates do that Often our own pregnancies are fairly smooth, and that's part of the reason we do surrogacy. But there's just no guarantee of the pregnancy is going to be the same. And I remember through the Zoom monthly catch-ups, seeing and hearing about your legs and the veins, and it was just like, whoa, that was
Yeah.
unexpected, wasn't it?
I should have put a leg vein photo in there. They
Mhm.
have gotten better, but they're they're not the best afterwards. I think there'll be some lifelong marks, but
Wow.
that's to me that's still like a small price to pay for the joy that I've made for another couple. So it was definitely no regrets, and it was all worth it.
I'm writing that down. I
Yeah.
mean, listen to surrogates like a small price to pay, yeah, for the joy that you've given. I mean, but your body now, 4 months post-birth, still has these lasting scars, so to speak, but impact. And so every pregnancy leaves an impact, isn't it? But so well done for doing that and going through that. You and
100%.
your family. And then as we
Thank you.
do the pregnancy, sometimes people do like bump photos of how far along they are and therefore the size of the fruit or the vegetable that baby is. You took a different tact here. Tell us what is going on. You've got your pregnancy photo on one side, and then on the other half of each photo is there. We've got a raspberry, we've got like fruit tingle strips, we've got a gum leaf and a mushroom.
Yeah, I don't know. I started feeling like I was looking like certain items when I was wearing things, and then I just kind of put up my likeness, and that was kind of just like something fun along the way because I really wanted to um, have my IPs feel connected during the journey,
Mm,
um, and have them involved. And so I sort of we talk every day still, and through the journey, I was sending lots of photos and stuff like that. And we made a little page for family and friends, and sometimes I just put up little things, and they always got lots of attention, so I just kind of kept doing it.
mm.
But it was nice. I never did any of that stuff for my own pregnancies. I hardly have any photos from my own two kids, so it's kind of nice to do
Mm.
it so that I don't know, baby Blake can look back later and go, "Oh, that's cool."
Yeah, definitely. Yes, the
Yeah.
things we do for surrogate pregnancies that we might not have done for our own then.
Yeah.
And as you say, yeah, finding ways to involve the IPs and their friends and family. I'd forgotten that we had a little Facebook group as well for our team there. What's the distance between your IPs in terms of, therefore, how often you might have seen them during pregnancy?
hmm like I live in Brisbane and my IPs are from the Gold Coast, and so we live about an hour to an hour and a half, I suppose, depending on the traffic.
Mm.
Um, during the pregnancy, I'd say I probably saw them. I was seeing them probably at least monthly because I had a lot more scans. So I would see them every month for a scan towards the end and stuff like that. But we'd see each other every few weeks. It's carried on now, probably the same. Um, I see them once a month, maybe once every, 6, 7 weeks sort of thing.
Yeah.
Um, and then we still talk almost every day, just a little check in and send. I get photos, which I am super appreciative of all the time. And I did kind of say, oh, if you want to kind of dial back the chatting now that you've got Blake, that's completely fine because I get it. As a new parents, you're very busy. And Emma said to me, "Oh, we've been talking every day for the last 2 years. Don't really want to stop now." So that made me feel really good. Um, and yeah, uh,
Um,
uh, yeah.
can I can I clarify? What does
Mhm.
talking mean? Does it actually mean on the phone or you're chatting during Messenger or something?
Oh, no, we chat during Messenger. So we chat during Messenger. Um, we do sometimes talk on the phone too, but sometimes Blake might be going to sleep, or I'm in the car and I might give her a call, but it's mainly on Messenger.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's just interesting to clarify, isn't it? Because so when you said talk every day, some people
yeah,
might interpret that as on the phone, like
yeah.
verbally. So yes, every team will work out, what is right. And yes, my team too, for like 2.5 years, daily contact.
Mhm.
So it did feel a bit weird to when you start to ease that off, but then it will happen in its own natural way.
Yeah.
And then that brings us to the day of birth, hey? So,
Yeah.
talk us through what it was like and what you think and feel when you look at yourself in these photos.
Uh, I sort of forgot and remembered when we were looking at these photos and stuff that um this was like right after the cyclone happened,
Oh,
the cyclone that came through, and
that's right.
so we we were told by the hospital if there was any kind of inkling of movement just to come in, because um they weren't sure if people would be able to move about and stuff like that. And
Mm,
then it kept on getting like the cyclone kept getting delayed, I suppose. And we were just trying to get through the weekend because we were like, okay, we do not want this baby to come now. We need it to come later. And
mm,
anyway, I had been looking after like other people's kids at the house because they'd lost power, and then, you know, um my friend had to go to work and stuff like that because she was a nurse. So and it was good because my kids had someone to play with, but I'd been looking after my friend's son all day, and then we'd gone to bounce, and we had like a heap of kids, and I was sitting there, and I was thinking, oh, you know, I feel I got back pain, and I kind of felt some tightenings, and I was like, oh, I was a little bit sus on stuff. Anyway, I got home. Uh, it was like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and it was probably too much information, but I went to the bathroom and there was like a little bit of a show. And so I called up the hospital, and, um, the cyclone had come and gone, but it was only like pretty much the day later, and the floodwaters kind of thing had receded. Anyway, they were like, okay, come in. We'll just check you out. And I was like, okay. And I thought, okay, I'll take my bag because it has all my lollies in it, because I'm a big lolly head, and there was like 10 bags of lollies. So I was like, very important. And I went in, and then we decided that I'd stay there because I was having some bleeding. And so, well, I wasn't too concerned or anything like that.
mm.
Emma and Steve, I remember ringing them, like Emma didn't answer. And then
Oh,
I called Steve, and Steve didn't answer. And I was like, bloody hell, can't even answer the phone for the birth of your own child. But anyway, they called me back, and I did make that joke to them. And
yes.
I said, look, I think you should like take Leo, which is their fur baby. And I said, go to your parents' house so you're a little bit closer. And I kept updating them and stuff. And I think they ended up getting to the hospital at like 2 a.m. in the morning, because every woman in Brisbane that was pregnant, that was holding on to her baby, was at Redlands Hospital ready to give birth, because now the
Yes.
cyclone had gone, they could go to the hospital. But in
I hear
these
that.
photos,
I hear
oh,
I hear babies sometimes are born in storms. Ours was a very rainy, stormy night. I hear they often hold on. It's a midwife thing apparently that they know that. So anyway, carry on. So you eventually all got together at the hospital.
yeah, we all got together at the hospital, and because I'd been checked into a room first, because at this stage, my waters still hadn't broken, and they'd broken spontaneously the previous two times, and so I was expecting that. But labor was progressing, but my waters hadn't broken. So Emma and Steve, they went into the room that I was initially put in, and I was in the birth suite, and my husband and I, uh, we hung out in the birth suite, and then we all got together at 7 in the morning, and
Mhm.
anyway, they were like, okay, I think we're gonna break your waters. And I was like, all right. And I said to Emma and Steve, why don't you go and get like something to eat or whatever, because it'll probably still take a while. And I sent them away. And anyway, it was like after I'd sent them away, I swear, like I must have I was like, Anthony, call them to come back, because it was like 30 minutes later, and I was like, oh, I was really in the throes of like labor, and I was waiting for the birth photographer to come, and she told me she was 40 minutes away, and I was
Yes.
pretty much like uh squeezing my legs together so that baby Blake didn't come. And then I remember hearing Gina, the photographer, behind me when she came in, because she was like, uh, she was so cheery and excited, and I felt relief. I couldn't see her, but I knew she was there, and I was like, okay, we can have this baby now.
Yes.
And I really love this photo of like Emma with her hand on my back, and uh she was really active during the whole labor as well, holding my hand, and she was getting like wet towels and giving them to me, and Steve was giving me encouragement and stuff, and it was really lovely. So after my waters broke, 2 hours later, baby Blake was born, and
Wow.
yeah, it all went really well. So we've got Karen, the midwife, who followed us. She's in the background, and my husband's hands on my back in that photo, but you can't quite see it. And Emma and Steve are there, and Emma and I cuddling with baby Blake, and it worked out really well. It was like an unmedicated, natural birth, and I was really pleased about that because I really like being in the moment. Even though it's painful, it's birth something that I really enjoy, and
Mm,
that was one of the motivating factors of being a surrogate as well. Like that, that's my reward,
yes.
that moment, giving birth, and yeah, I was so happy and relieved. Um, so I
Yes.
love these photos.
Beautiful. Well done. Me too. That's how I felt about
Yeah,
birth. Yeah, well done. What you created life. You made a mum and a dad.
yeah,
It's a
I'm
pretty,
stoked.
yeah, you should be stoked, should be proud.
Yeah,
Um, and so then life goes on and then
yeah,
it's a few months post-birth, and we've just got one photo here. So for privacy reasons, we've blurred out Blake's face there.
hmm
And you know that again, different people might do things differently on social media, mightn't they?
hmm
And so yes, she's just turned 4 months old, I think you told me as well.
yeah. It's just 4 months old. Um, we didn't know she was going to be a girl, so the gender reveal was. I looked down and I was like, it felt like forever, but it was only a moment, and I was like, it's a girl, and Emma was super stoked because she was hoping for a girl, and I was hoping for a girl for her, but
Mm.
yeah, this is myself and baby Blake. Oh, not too long ago, a few weeks back, but I did see her last week, and I'll see her tomorrow because we've got our parentage order. So that's pretty exciting.
It is. Yes, so parentage order tomorrow. So that's the end of the official paperwork stage. Um, what I'm just going to do there is I've just stopped the share, and so I'll just use that as an opportunity to say to people, you're welcome to leave the webinar whenever you want, but we'll obviously stay around for a few more minutes and keep chatting. Feel free to type in questions. You can either type in questions about surrogacy generally, or you can ask questions about SJ's journey. Um, so you're saying yes, the parentage order, and that's been about 4 months post birth. And in Queensland, do you all get to go to court and have a few minutes in court?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all get to go to court. Uh, my kids will be at school, but I'll get to go there with Blake and Emma and Steve. And it's
Mm,
nice. It's nice just to see them. So,
yes. Will your husband come along too?
yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And so
So
just
he's coming. He's coming. He's got the day off from all day.
lovely because it's a journey that your whole team went on. I'd like to ask a little bit about that. So just for context, so you have two children. Roughly how old were they when Blake was born?
Oh, 7 and 5.
Yeah, so mine were similar, I think 4 and 6. So just as a context there for surrogates when they're wondering, oh, how old your kids might be. And sometimes they say the partners or husbands or wives of surrogates are the unsung heroes in this. Your man was a significant part by your side through all of this.
Yeah, 100%. He had to give me all the needles, um, and listen to me like complain and whinge, and if anything was, you know, not feeling great, he had to. That was probably the he was my greatest support for that type of stuff, the emotional support. So he was definitely an integral part for
Mm,
the whole journey. I don't think I could do it without him.
definitely. That's probably a good opportunity. I'll just do a little plug there. One of the podcast episodes that we've done is Partners of Surrogates. So if people listening have concerns about how surrogacy goes, look up that episode. So every journey's got ups and downs, doesn't it? And what do we say? Well, it's a marathon, not a sprint. But even when it goes relatively smoothly, there's still tough times. Are
Yeah.
there any that you can remember from your own team of some of the tough times?
Yeah, we had a few little ups and downs. I suppose because surrogacy relies a lot on open and honest communication to get you through the whole journey, and then um, sometimes it could just be hard. So, one of the things that popped up was direct feeding, which is probably something that a lot of teams go through, which might be a little bit difficult. Um, for me, it was something that I wanted to do so I could um, give Blake the best start, and it was something that we had to work on.
Mm.
In the end, um, when the day arrived, Emma offered, and so I took up the offer and I got to direct feed Blake, and then I did that over the next couple of days, like yourself. And my milk came in, and then I got to express for 5 weeks for baby Blake, and
Yes.
so that was something that was really important to me as a good start for my mental health. And I have to say, like, I don't know if that was the thing that got me over, but my postpartum journey has been really good, and I do probably put it down to the fact that um, Emma was so great with just rolling with everything once baby Blake arrived. Just all those worries, I think, just went out the window, and so the postpartum journey's been good, and I haven't had any type of depression or anything like that. So I'm like
Mm.
very thankful.
That's good. So yes, so if people are new and listening, we often talk about these first 3 months post-birth and people call it the fourth trimester. And I know as friends, checking in on how you were going, and sometimes you'd say something like, does it make me heartless if like I haven't had any big detachment feelings? And I think I remember saying to you, no, I think that makes you the perfect surrogate because I think surrogates before we've done it, we just know it's something we can do, that we're going to be okay handing over this baby. And that's why we do it, where there's plenty of women out there that go, oh, I could never do that. And it's like, well, that's probably because they'd
Mm.
struggle at that point. So I think it's just a credit to you that you knew you could do it and you did it. And so well done. So, yeah, so I'm glad that part of the journey went
Thank you.
fairly
I
smooth.
did have like a moment. I remember. Yeah. I did have like a moment. We were like meeting up at the shops, and I had not seen Blake for, I don't know, it was like 2 weeks, and I just couldn't wait to see her. I remember like going to the wrong car park, and I was starting to get like, oh no, overwhelmed and stuff, and got a bit teary because I just couldn't wait to see them. But that was probably the only time when I was like a bit emotional. I
Mm,
just was so looking forward to seeing them both. So,
mm,
but my relationship, I suppose, is like mainly with Emma, and it's the one that I want to foster the most, I guess.
mm.
So I realized when I saw Emma and Blake a week or so ago, it was Emma that I miss, not Blake. So yeah, I really enjoy speaking with her, and my cup feels full after I spend time with her. So
Yeah.
yeah, Blake's just like the icing on the cake, but
Mm.
yeah, all the ingredients, I guess, is Emma and I's relationship together.
That's so perfectly said. And that's exactly how I felt, that the bit that I was sad about when the journey ended was the intensity of the contact that I'd had with Matt and Brendan. It wasn't the baby Baker. It was like, he's just my friend's kid.
Yeah.
I just happened to have birthed him, but it was that, oh, the journey ends. And so, but it's trying to find that new normal with your friendship. So, yeah, I 100% relate to what you're saying there. Um, well, then that almost takes me back to the very beginning. So you carried for a hetero couple. When you went out of your way to decided to be a surrogate, did you therefore specifically go looking for a hetero couple because you kind of wanted that sisterly bond with a woman?
Um, I was looking specifically for a hetero couple, but it was actually because of uh how my family would feel as well. So
Right.
that played a part in it too.
Mm,
I knew that my dad might be a little bit, I guess, less open to the idea if it was for a same-sex couple
mm,
due to his religious views.
yeah.
And I needed the support of my family as well. I remember telling my dad about wanting to become a surrogate, and I mentioned that I had met Emma and Steve, and the reason why that they needed one. And my dad he was so proud and pleased that I was helping this couple, and my mum was really happy too. So, you know, I feel like Emma and Steve were the couple for me, but it was important that I still had that support from my family, and that's why I was looking for a heterosexual couple as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really powerful to hear that. Ideally, if we can have our extended family support, it does make the journey smoother. I know there's some teams where that doesn't happen, or it creates a rift among people. And sometimes surrogates they go, well, I'm going to do this project anyway, and it's a bit tense. But yeah, well done for picking the team that was right for you then. Is there anything else then that we haven't covered that you'd like to make sure we talk about for your journey?
Oh gosh.
So much we could ask, so many things.
It's a tough one.
Is there anything for your team that you're particularly proud of? You think that your team did really well?
Oh, look, I'm really proud that we got to the point that we're at, and we were able to navigate any type of, you know, niggling things that were sort of like on our minds where they could have caused friction. I was glad that we got through all those things and we're still together as a team. And like, I don't think that our team's going to fall apart after the parentage order or anything like that, which is sometimes like a stressful time for surrogates, wondering if your relationship's going to keep going. I feel like Emma and Steve are going to be our friends for life. That's really important for me, just because of I want Blake to know her origin story, and that see that she was made with so much love by so many parties and stuff. Um, that we really wanted her to be here, and uh, you know, we did that together for her. So being having her in my life and is important, just because yeah, she wouldn't be here without me, and I don't know if I'd be the same person now without having her, because she's part of my story too. So yeah, it's important to me that we still
Mm.
stay in contact, and I think that we've done that successfully.
Yeah, well done navigating it so far. As you say, it's important to, as a team, to maintain contact and keep in touch. Is there any advice then that you'd give to teams that might be in the middle of their journey or at the beginning? How do they become a team like yours so that the communication does maintain, even if there are certain conflicts? Is there any
Yeah.
recipe that your team had?
Yeah, definitely. If something comes up where you're not feeling really good about something, or something's annoyed you or bothered you, or you're scared about something, I know it's super hard, but yeah, it, you know, speak up about it, because it doesn't get better when you sit on things. And all those like little one percenters turn into something, that's a lot bigger, because you haven't mentioned things, and it can cause animosity and stuff like that, or resentment, if you don't speak up. And I know it's hard, because it was hard for me too, when I might not have been as happy about things, and I'm sure Emma as well. But I was always appreciative that she did raise something, because I wouldn't want my friend to be upset about something I did. And I'm not going to know unless she tells me. And that same vice versa. And being pregnant, you're really emotional, and it's not always a good time. And I'm sure that Emma and Steve might have felt the same way, because it's stressful becoming parents. So
Mm.
I definitely, for any teams, I'd be talking about everything. Before we even did our surrogacy questions, we went through the surrogacy questions twice over, making sure that we ticked the same boxes, because if we'd gone through them and there was a lot of things that we didn't align with our values, I don't think we could have been able to move forward, because we would have been too different as a team. And
Mm.
that's something, when I reached out to talk to Emma initially from her reply to my introduction post. If we hadn't have clicked and gotten along, I wouldn't have been able to keep going with talking to her, but it didn't fizzle out and it just kept going like a normal friendship. And that's when I knew that like Emma was the one for me, because it just naturally kept progressing. So yeah, so for any teams, go through the surrogacy questions, and then go through them again and make sure your values align. And if anything comes up, definitely talk about it and bring it up, because it doesn't get better with time if you just leave it. Yeah.
It's so true. It doesn't get better if you don't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Yep. And you're right when you're like, oh, but it's only 1%. It's a small thing, but you got to try and sort these things out when they're small. And I think your advice is for both the IPs and the surrogate, both sides of the team need to bring it up, don't they?
Yeah. 100%. 100%. I definitely would have been upset if they hadn't spoken to me about stuff and I found out later, because I don't want to upset my friends either, you know?
I think that's perfect. I don't think there's any other way to end. And I know, so I can see in chat that Jamie and Cody are here tonight, and they've often written this podcast series with me as I'm editing episodes. And often it's like, let's get to the juicy stuff. Like, let's talk about some of the hard stuff. And I think although you might not have had a huge major drama, but the advice that you're giving there is that any team can take on board. It's every team's going to have niggly little things, and it's
Yeah.
leaning into that discomfort when they're small.
Yeah. 100%.
Great advice. Okay, everyone. Well, we might sum it up then, and I'll say thank you, everyone, for joining us. We hope you found it useful. Head to the Surrogacy Australia website and check out the future dates for upcoming webinars that you can join. If you still have lots of unanswered questions or would like them answered privately, consider joining SASS so you can be connected with a mentor to have your questions answered in a one-on-one setting. I like to say, let's change the world one conversation at a time so we can educate people about how surrogacy works in Australia. It can be very lonely and overwhelming in the beginning, well, at any point in the journey, to be honest, but there is plenty of support in the village if you go looking for it. As the saying goes, it takes a village to raise a child, and in the case of surrogacy, it takes a village to make a child. So welcome to the village, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Thanks for joining me, SJ.
Thanks, Anna.
All right, everyone, I'll click in and say good night. Good night.